Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Stanley Wolfe, and for the past decade, I've been walking through this beautiful season of retirement. 10 years of slowing down, reflecting, and learning what really matters in life. Now, I know when people hear the word luxury, they often picture a shiny car, a big house, or an expensive vacation. But after 10 years of retired living, I've discovered something different. The real luxuries of life, they aren't bought with money. They're lived, cherished, and remembered in the quiet, simple moments. So today, I want to take you with me on a little journey. We're going to talk about the treasures that don't sit in a bank account, but live inside your heart and your home. If you're ready, grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's share this time together. Now let's start with the very first and most important luxury of all time. You see, time is the one thing every single one of us has, but none of us know exactly how much of it is left. When I stepped into retirement 10 years ago, I suddenly realized how precious every hour, every day really is. Back when I was working, it always felt like time was something I had to wrestle with, chase down, or squeeze just a little more out of. There were deadlines, meetings, schedules stacked on top of schedules. And then one day, just like that, all of it quieted down. What I learned is this: time isn't something you manage, it's something you honor. Every morning when I wake up, I try to remind myself that I've been given another day, another 24 hours to live, love, and make a little difference, even if it's just in the lives of my dogs, my wife, or the neighbor I wave to as I pick up the morning paper. That's the treasure, not the length of your days, but the quality of them. Now, of course, time and health go hand in hand. If you don't have your health, your time loses its strength and its sweetness. I remember a good friend of mine who used to say, "You can't spend time well if your body is bankrupt." He was right. I've seen people with all the money in the world, but their health was gone, and so their time was filled with hospitals and doctors' visits instead of laughter and travel. That's when it really sank in for me. Health is the foundation of life itself. These days, I try to take care of myself the best I can. I'm not a fitness fanatic, but I walk, I stretch, I eat a little cleaner than I used to, and I listen when my body tells me it's time to slow down. 10 years into retirement, I've learned that health isn't about chasing youth. It's about respecting the stage of life you're in and keeping yourself well enough to enjoy the things you love. And I'll tell you something: when you pair time with health, you discover another hidden treasure: peace of mind. Now, peace of mind doesn't come easy. We live in a noisy world. The TV's always shouting, the phone's always buzzing, and the news will have you thinking the sky is falling every other day. But the greatest gift you can give yourself is the ability to quiet your own thoughts. To stop the overthinking, to stop chasing things that don't matter, and to live in the moment you've been given. For me, peace of mind means letting go of the need to do everything at once. It's remembering that I don't have to carry yesterday's worries into today, and I don't need to borrow tomorrow's troubles either. There's a saying I love, maybe you've heard it: keep it simple, stupid. And let me tell you, I'm not calling anybody stupid but myself when I say it. It's a reminder that life doesn't have to be so complicated. Simple routines, simple pleasures, simple joys, those are the things that lead to a calm heart and a quiet mind. And one of the best ways I've found to nurture that peace is with slow mornings. I can't stress this enough. The way you start your day shapes the way you live it. Back in my working years, mornings were a sprint. Alarm clocks blaring, coffee gulped down while tying my shoes, rushing out the door with a piece of toast in my hand. Retirement taught me the luxury of slowing down. Now I wake up, stretch a little, and the first thing I do is let the dogs out. They wag their tails like it's the best day of their life, because to them it is. That joy is contagious. I pour a cup of coffee, sit with my wife, and we chat about what the day might hold. Sometimes it's nothing more than walking the dogs, maybe a trip to the grocery store, or just reading a book. Other times, it's a little project in the garage or planning a dinner with friends. The beauty of a slow morning is that it sets a rhythm of gratitude. You're not rushing, you're not panicking, you're not already 2 steps ahead of yourself. You're here now, savoring the moment. That, my friends, is a luxury greater than any fancy breakfast at a five-star hotel. And you know, those slow mornings tie directly into another gift I've come to cherish: the ability to travel. Now, travel doesn't have to mean jetting off to Europe or checking into a luxury resort. For me, it's the freedom to pack a bag, hop in the car, and drive to my place in Arizona, where the sun feels warm on my skin even in January. Or flying up to Minneapolis to see family, share a meal, and catch up on stories. Travel is about movement, about choosing where you want to be and having the freedom to get there. I know not everyone sees travel as a luxury. Some folks have been everywhere they want to go and they're content to stay home. But for me, travel is life-giving. It reminds me how big the world is, and yet how small it can feel when you sit down with family or friends across the miles. It's not about ticking off destinations on a map. It's about the freedom to connect, to explore, and to live a little more fully. And that brings me back to the big picture. Time, health, peace of mind, slow mornings, and the ability to travel, they're all tied together. Time gives you the canvas. Health gives you the strength to paint. Peace of mind gives you the focus to see the beauty. Slow mornings give you the space to enjoy it. And travel gives you the adventure, the stories, the new colors to fill in the picture. When you really think about it, these aren't things you can buy at a store or park in your driveway. They're choices you make, practices you keep, and gifts you learn to cherish. I don't say all this to sound wise or to lecture anybody. I say it because I've lived it. 10 years of retired life has taught me more about wealth than any paycheck I ever collected. And I want you, whether you're retired, getting close, or still working hard every day, to know this: the real luxuries of life are already within your reach. You don't have to wait for them. You just have to slow down, pay attention, and claim them as your own. Now let's talk about another treasure that comes with time, and one that I had to learn the hard way: resting without guilt. Back in my working years, rest always felt like a luxury I hadn't earned. If I sat down in the middle of the afternoon, there was this little voice in the back of my head whispering, "You should be doing something. You're wasting time." Maybe you've heard that voice yourself. But here's the truth I've discovered in retirement: rest is not wasted time. Rest is sacred. When I allow myself to lie down for a nap at 3 o'clock after a long morning of mowing the lawn or playing 18 holes on the golf course, it's not laziness. It's wisdom. It's my body telling me, "Thank you for listening." There's something powerful about giving yourself permission to slow down, to close your eyes, to take a breath. Because when you wake up, you don't just feel rested, you feel renewed. And you know what? Resting without guilt has taught me that productivity isn't measured by how much I do, but by how fully I live. Some days that means building something in the garage. Other days it means watching the clouds drift by and letting the world move on without me for a while. Both of those days are valuable. Both of them count. Of course, one of the biggest luxuries that ties right into rest is a good night's sleep. Now, if you're younger, you might take sleep for granted, but as you get older, you realize sleep is not guaranteed. You wake up in the middle of the night, maybe because your bones ache a little more than they used to, or because nature calls, and you find yourself walking to the bathroom at 2 in the morning. Sometimes the dogs wake me up. Our little one had a urinary tract infection for a while, so she was up at odd hours, and of course, so was I. That's when I learned that a truly good night's sleep is a luxury worth investing in. I must have gone through 7 pillows before I found one that let me wake up without a sore neck. A good mattress, the right blanket, even the right temperature in the room, they all matter. And when it all comes together, when you sink into bed, fall asleep, and wake up in the morning refreshed, that is pure gold. Sleep is when the body heals. It's when the mind resets. It's when the soul has a chance to let go of yesterday and prepare for today. And in retirement, when time is yours and rest is yours, sleep becomes one of the sweetest gifts God gives. And speaking of gifts, let me tell you about one that might surprise you: calm and boring days. Now I know what you might be thinking. Boring days? That doesn't sound like a luxury. But hear me out. After years of rushing, commuting, deadlines, traffic jams, and never having enough hours in the day, I've come to believe that boredom is one of the greatest blessings. A calm day means I can tinker in the workshop, not because I have to, but because I want to. Maybe I just put away some tools, sweep up the sawdust, or polish something I made years ago. No rush, no pressure, just me and the quiet hum of life moving at its own pace. Or maybe it's reading a book in my chair with a soft blanket across my lap. Maybe it's sitting on the porch, listening to the birds, sipping on iced tea. Calm and boring days are when I remember that life isn't meant to be lived at full speed all the time. It's meant to be savored. And you know what happens when you slow down like that? You make room for one of the greatest luxuries of all: meaningful conversations. Every Wednesday morning, I sit with a group of friends at the coffee shop. We talk, we laugh, we share stories. We joke that we're going to save the world, but really what we're doing is saving each other from loneliness. And let me tell you, that's no small thing. You can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have someone to talk to, someone who listens, someone who cares, that money won't buy you joy. Meaningful conversations remind us that we're connected, that we belong to each other. And conversations don't always have to be deep. Sometimes we debate sports, hockey, golf, football, you name it. Sometimes we talk politics, sometimes family, sometimes just silly stories from our week. The point isn't the topic. The point is the connection, the laughter, the way your soul feels lighter when you walk out the door because you know you've been heard and you've heard someone else. That, my friends, is a luxury far greater than any diamond ring. And while we're on the subject of connection, let's talk about home-cooked meals. Now, when I was younger, going out to a restaurant felt like a luxury. A nice dinner out, a fancy menu, that was how you treated yourself. But these days, I've come to see it differently. A home-cooked meal prepared with love, shared at the kitchen table, that's the real luxury. I'm blessed because my wife loves to cook. She's even written a few cookbooks, and I've been her willing guinea pig for years. She'll try a new recipe and I get the first taste. Sometimes it's amazing, sometimes it needs a little tweaking, but it's always an adventure. And the best part, when there's too much, there are leftovers waiting for us the next day. But beyond the food itself, home-cooked meals mean togetherness. They mean sitting down with family, turning off the TV, putting away the phones, and asking, "How was your day?" They mean laughter across the table, stories told between bites, and love expressed not just in words, but in flavors and aromas. In a world where fast food and takeout have become the norm, taking the time to cook, to sit, to eat together, that's a gift money can't replace. And at the very heart of all these luxuries, perhaps the greatest of them all, is love. Being loved and loving back, that's the core. That's the treasure chest that holds everything else together. Love from my wife, who has walked with me through decades of ups and downs. Love from my dogs, who greet me like a hero every time I walk in the door, no matter how long I've been gone. Love from my family, even if distance keeps us apart. And love from friends who show up week after week to share life with me. But love isn't just about being loved, it's about giving love. About saying, "I love you," before walking out the door, because you never know if those might be the last words you get to say. About hugging your spouse when you come home, petting your dog with a smile, calling your brother just to check in. About choosing kindness, choosing forgiveness, choosing connection over conflict. Because in the end, when everything else is stripped away, the cars, the houses, the jobs, the trophies, what remains is love. The love you've given, the love you've received. That's the true wealth of life. So if you ask me what the real luxuries are, I'll tell you. It's resting without guilt, it's sleeping deeply, it's savoring the calm, it's sharing meaningful conversations, it's gathering around a home-cooked meal, and above all, it's living in love. That's the retirement I've discovered. That's the treasure chest I open every day. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to wait for retirement to claim these luxuries. They're available right now today if you choose to embrace them. So, my friends, those are the real luxuries of life. Not the cars, not the mansions, but the time we're given, the health we protect, the peace we create, the mornings we savor, the meals we share, and the love that surrounds us. If any of this touched your heart today, I'd be honored if you'd give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. That way, we can keep walking this journey together, one simple blessing at a time. Take care and remember, you are richer than you think.